Hey guys, Jerry with RIDE88. We're here just kind of wanted to run through how we're mounting up our decked box mount kit. It requires some extra brackets and parts that allow it to mount securely to your deck box. We're using all of the native tie-down points in the box system. So let's run through this real quick and have a look at how it all goes together. So we're going to assemble these brackets. These brackets are the uprights that hold the crossbar to your truck, and also these brackets will bolt directly down onto the decked box. So one thing that you need to know is that these are left and right specific. So the sticker would indicate the outside of the bracket. When they go in the truck, the back window of your truck, represented by my hand, would be back that way. This would be the right side, this would be the left side. Looking at the bottom of the brackets, you can see that we have foam pads down here. Those should be facing towards one another. And then if I flip these around to the back side, foam pads facing towards one another. The brackets that support these also have kind of bent leaves on them here. And so each one of those point towards each other. So the flat side faces outward and the bent side faces inward. Looking at it from the back side, this will be the left and this will be the right. When you flip it around, right side and left side. So we're going to go ahead and put one bolt through the top. A washer and a nut. And then the same thing on the bottom. And then we'll tighten those up. Just make sure when you're bolting in this plate to the bracket, the support plate should be all the way down so that it's not floating. You don't want it lifted up off the bottom. So you wouldn't want to mount it up here. Make sure that it's touching the bottom and then tighten it up. And on the other side, I'm just using my Allen wrench. So that's just in the bolt while I'm turning the socket on the other side. So we'll repeat the process on the opposite bracket, and remember that the 90-degree flanges should be facing towards one another, just like that. So here's the two brackets. Once again, from the back side, notice the flat plate facing outward, flat plate facing outward, so they're side specific. And now looking at them from the front side, looks like that. We're going to use a 5mm Allen wrench to remove the end tube on the rack. Pull off the rubber pad and then remove the buckle strap. We're going to reuse this later. Put it back together and then we'll screw it back onto the rack. I recommend putting them both on loose before you tighten them so that there's a little bit of play in it so that everything lines up nice. And then tighten it down. All right, right along the center where the track is going to mount, we'll need to pull the bolt out of the deck box because we're going to put a different bolt through the track to mount it down in the middle. So the U-track goes across the center of the box. You'll notice that there's all of these recessed holes that are in the top of the deck box. And they come with a big washer and a long bolt that basically goes in each hole. So we're going to take those out. We're just going to reuse the large washer, put that down first. Then we're going to put 3 of the washers that are provided by RIDE88, and there's actually 4 washers that we provide. One is going to go through the bolt, that's going to go through the track. Then we're going to put 3 more washers on the back side of the bolt. These are going to create a spacer that fills in this recess so that it has a firm foundation to bolt down to. And then we're going to put that in. And we're going to thread that in with our hand just to get it started so we don't cross thread anything. And then we're going to bolt that down with the Allen key. Okay, we'll do that on both sides of the track. Okay, so if you have a standard bed, you're going to have a little bit of a different hole pattern. So I'll show you how to attach the track when you have the two mounting points that are further out. So we're gonna use one of our straps for that. This is going to bolt directly into the track with one of these spring nuts. Just push that in and turn it into position like that. Line it up with these holes. You're going to use the washer that comes with your deck box that you pulled out of here. You're also going to use the bolt that you pulled out of here. Then we're going to put this special spacer that we provide that's going to go on top of the washer, and then we have another washer, goes through the bolt, through the track. We're going to bolt it down to the surface. So you're going to do that on both sides of the track. Because this is the short bed, I don't have the hole back here, but you will have that if you have a standard bed truck. Okay, and then lastly, we have the center bolt, which is going to mount directly to the track. And so that's the process for mounting on a standard bed truck. The last step is going to be to bolt the center. So put a washer in the middle and then bolt it in. Snug that up. And now your track is mounted to the bed. So this is the part that we're going to install next. This is the upright. There's going to be one on the left and one on the right side. This one is the one that goes on the right side, and you can tell because it has two rubber pads just on one side of it. Those rubber pads will face towards the center of the truck. Those are on there to basically offset these higher points that it's going to mount on top of. There's these hexagons that DECKED has embossed into their truck bed, and these pads are going to sit where it's flat, so it'll keep everything sitting square. You'll want to remove the tie-down anchor that's mounted in the corner of the deck box. After you remove it, you'll get a bushing like this that was mounted in there. Put that back, and then you'll add two washers that RIDE88 provides on top of that, and that's going to bring it back up to level. So the way I like to do it is the bolt that you pulled out of here, you'll want to put a washer on. You'll want to put that washer and bolt through the upright, and then put two more washers, and then you'll want to put the spacer. Final assembly is bolt, washer, two more washers, and then a spacer. And then that whole thing is going to bolt down into here. And it's a little bit of something you have to kind of play with to get it all in there just right, but it's doable. So once you get that in there, you just want to put that on loosely. You don't want to tighten this down yet because everything needs to have a little bit of movement until we get the crossbar mounted, and then we can tighten everything down. So we'll just put this on lightly. And we'll mount the upright on the front of the right and left side right now. Okay, we're going to install one U-bolt onto the left and the right side uprights. So this is the right side upright. We're going to take the U-bolt and cradle. Going to bring that through. Put a washer, the top and bottom, and then just loosely put a nut. And we're going to do this on the other side as well. And then we're going to bring the crossbar through. And this will just give us something to hold the crossbar temporarily. Now we're going to go ahead and install the crossbar. I'm just going to drop that right through both sides. And now everything should still be loose. We can go ahead and put on the rest of our U-bolts and cradles. So you're going to want to center your bar now, and now we can go ahead and tighten up the U-bolts. And so when you tighten these up, you're going to want to make sure you don't pull one all the way through and have the other one short. So you want to make sure you have about the same amount of thread coming out on the top and the bottom of each of these so that your U-bolt isn't coming in crooked. You want it to be even. Okay, there we go. So you can see the threads are about even. That's good. Okay, so now you have all the U-bolts tightened, crossbar is secure, the base is still able to slide forward and back because we haven't tightened the base fully down yet, and that we don't want to do until we get the rack installed, so we'll know exactly where the bar needs to be. And now we're going to mount the rear support. Those are going to go on the U-track, so you use your spring nuts. We're going to put those into the track, push the spring down, turn them sideways. Then we're going to line that up. We're going to use a washer and a bolt. Do that on both sides of each upright. Okay, so once you have this loosely mounted, you can slide it a little bit. So you want to make sure and leave that until we're ready to put the rack on and then line everything up. Okay, let's go ahead and snap on the plastic bushings over the crossbar. All right, mount the skewers in. Put the threaded nut on the bottom. And do that on both sides of each rack. Okay, well now we're going to align the rear of the rack to the rear stand here. So the stand needs to come over a little bit so that the holes line up with the center of this bar. This also needs to come back, so we're going to pull this back. And that's going to align that. And then we'll put the cradle underneath, drop it through, and then tighten everything down. Okay, once you have all of your racks mounted in the same way, then you can go ahead and tighten your uprights. So I find this easiest to do if you have an extension, so you can just go straight down from the top and tighten this up. If you don't have an extension, you can still do it with a hand Allen wrench. It's just a little bit more time consuming, but you can get in there and do it. All right, and for a finishing touch, we have plastic caps that you'll put over the top of the bolt heads just to clean everything up. Okay, we're gonna mount the strap bracket. So to do that, we'll use another one of the spring nuts. It's gonna go right in the middle of the rack. So you'll get your strap, and on the end of the strap, the short loop that's attached to the buckle, we're gonna feed that right through the center. And then that will hold on to the strap. Put a washer and drop the bolt through. Now you're going to take this end of the strap, hook it over the end of your deck, and then tighten it down and get it nice and firm. So you want to pull that real tight. So I've already cut this strap here. You'll notice that when you get your strap, it's going to be really long. So you can cut it to the length that you want and then just use some super glue to finish the end, or you can melt it with a lighter or something just so that it seals the end of the threads here. And then this is for your back tire so that you can put this around your rear wheel so that it doesn't move around. Thanks for watching this installation video. Check out many other products that we offer on ride88.com. Rack up good times and enjoy the ride.